Welcome into the Rock Pod, presented by the Royal Oak, Michigan Chamber of Commerce. I am John Gay from Jag and Detroit Podcasts.
I am Lisa Bibby, your local neighborhood realtor with Keller Williams Advantage.
And I'm Trish Carew, third-generation jeweler and owner of Your Personal Jeweler.
Very excited for today's guest. It is Jeff Kong of Tri-Covery Massage and Flexibility. Welcome, Jeff. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much for having me. Very excited.
Let's start from the top. Give us your backstory, how Tri-Covery got started, and give us the lowdown.
Sure. Well, Tri-Covery started because I found that there was a need with people who were looking for results with their body and issues going on with their body. You know, your mind has an agenda. It wants to get things accomplished. It wants to do things. And unfortunately, the body isn't always on the same page. You know, it doesn't always feel the same. Your back tightens up, the hip's not working right, or your shoulder doesn't feel right, but you want to, do your weekend basketball games, with your buddies and whatnot, or play some pickleball. And so that's where we come in. We kind of get your body and your brain in the same page so that you can accomplish the goals and do the things that you want to do in your activities. And life is a lot more fun when you're going out and playing. And we want to make sure that we encourage that and we help people get some results and get an idea about what's going on, especially if they are a current athlete and they're used to their body doing what they want. They're a little more finely tuned and things are going well. And they get confused and also their body kind of starts fighting. It's like, well, what's going on here? Because I've always just been able to do what I want to do, but now my body's not cooperating. Trying to mentally grasp that, but then physically try to relieve the pain and some of the issues that come along with that. So that's kind of where it came out. I found a need for that.
So what year did you start your business?
So I started my business in 2010. And then I started my profession in this career path in 1999. And so I've been doing this for almost 25 years. And I started as a massage therapist, but also a trainer that specialized in athletic performance and post-rehab, dealing with a lot of injuries.
Was your first location in Royal Oak or Novi?
It was in Novi.
Okay.
So I guess a weird fact that ever since I was 14, I've worked in the city of Novi pretty much my entire life now. And I am 45 now, so it's a long time watching things grow in Novi. And then we decided to move into Royal Oak in 2020, about 3 weeks before the pandemic.
Ooh.
So,
well, welcome to the neighborhood. That must have been a rough start.
So it was interesting. It was blessings in disguise. We try to make that happen,
How did you navigate the pandemic, Jeff? Are you still seeing clients as an essential business, helping with injuries and that sort of thing?
Oh, we were, because a lot of people saw us not as your traditional massage therapists. We're a little more on the luxurious side. A lot of people were coming to see us because they felt like they needed to get in so that they can function at the level that they wanted to function at. But during that shutdown, a 3-month shutdown that was mandatory for us, there we did not see anybody. I had a lot of offers for people to say, just come to my house, you can do this. And I go, well, it just to seem like it was the smartest idea for me, myself, my family,
Sure.
My parents who were older. So we had to try to be smart and also try to keep things safe for our clients, even though they wanted us to come over. At that point, we just didn't really know what was going on. So we wanted to err on the safer side of things like we normally do.
So Jeff, you had mentioned that this is more of a luxury type of an item for people to come see you. So what type of clients do you typically see?
Well, we don't usually see those that were looking for the luxury item, looking for the couples massage or the traditional spa type massage. When they do actually call and they want something along those services, we actually refer them out because we can do it, but that's not our specialty. We see a lot of clients that are looking for results. There's a reason why they're calling us. Low back pain, shoulder issues, neck pain, things that they didn't have yesterday, but they woke up with today. And what's going on with that? Or I was driving and I went to go reach in the back seat for my purse, and all of a sudden my shoulder, my back just locked up and it hasn't calmed down. And I've been to all these different doctors and physical therapists and other massage therapists and chiropractors, and you guys are just my last hope. And that's usually when we shine. And we can really step in and help admit our game plan, which typically is get people out of pain. And then from there, give them some solutions of why this might have happened so that we can start working on preventing. And that's where a lot of our other services come into order, I guess, come in helpfully. Because Tri-Covery stands for 3 ways of recovery. It stands for massage, flexibility, and exercise. And we use those 3 ways to help a body recover from injuries or from just from training, from exercise and preparing for athletic endeavors.
So Jeff, there's been a lot of talk with people with long COVID. suffering from different issues with that. Are you seeing a lot of that come through your doors now? Because that long COVID is, a lot of physical pain, nerve pain, muscle pain.
Inflammation.
We do. I mean, I wouldn't say a lot, but we do have some people who just have that overall constant ache, or they just feel like they're just not firing on all their cylinders. And we'll help them out from the anatomical aspect, if the joints or a body part is bothering them. But lots of times it's a lot deeper than that. And from there, we refer out to physical therapists or certain doctors, sometimes a specific trainer that just does what we don't do. We're very good at staying in our lanes and utilizing as many of our great resources that we have, who are our network, basically.
Can you tell us all of the different services that you offer?
Yes. So our bread and butter is what most people know as deep tissue or sports massage. From there, everybody who comes and works here is a licensed massage therapist. And from there, we do a lot of in-house training to help develop their skills. And then from that, we work on the flexibility aspect, so we did the 3 reasons of Tri-Covery. Massage is the basic. Then the flexibility aspect is usually our slightly more advanced therapists, and we get specific training down in Arizona. And they go down there for a week and they get certified in training to really help with some of the flexibility and mobility issues that people get to help manually stretch somebody. A lot of these other stretch franchises have gotten big over the past several years around the area. And stretching is becoming a much bigger aspect of people's life and recovery and way to maintain their body. And we wanted to really kick that up quite a bit. And we've been doing that for about 10 years now, specializing with the stretching. And the stretching that we do, because of the specific training that we have, is unlike any other stretching that's really out there. It's going to feel different, and the durability of that is going to be amazing. Meaning, when we stretch you out traditionally, which I did for over a decade in my first job, it lasted maybe 20 minutes. And then if you're lucky, it lasted your car ride home and you still felt it. And it goes, now we stretch people out and they're feeling it through the weekends and for weeks on end. And now they're actually naturally moving in this new range of motion and functioning with that, which is actually what helps solidify that new range of motion.
The science is really developing very quickly. It's fascinating to hear it from your perspective. I know for me, I do a lot of walking with my dog and stuff like that. And when I go for a really long dog walk, 3-4 miles, whatever it is, I've been told that it's the stretching after is now just as, if not more important than stretching before. Is that what you've seen or what you've seen in the research, Jeff?
They have different reasons. It depends on why you want to stretch and what your purpose is. Beforehand, I'm a big fan of more of a dynamic stretching. So a lot of us have been taught, if you played high school sports, it's like, okay, reach down for your toes, hang for 10 seconds. All right, now cross right leg over left leg and reach down again. And, and you go from there. And there are all these very static stretches where you don't really move. I think before activity, dynamic stretching where you're moving in full ranges of motion is much more effective and a lot more comfortable as well. But then afterwards, that's a great way to help gain some ground with that range of motion, and to help build more mobility.
And also to keep from sort of tightening up or injuring yourself afterwards too?
Yeah, and it's a good cool down too. When you do exercise for a while, your body tends to pool blood in the muscles that you use, especially your legs. Mm-hmm. And by cooling down and constantly moving, but allowing your heart rate to come down, that helps redistribute that blood a little bit better, which blood is kind of the top-notch king of recovery. Mm. If you don't have proper blood flow, then you're going to be limited in your recovery all the time.
Can you expand a little bit? You offer 3 things that I think are a little bit unique as far as services.
Yes.
One of which is cupping, which I personally have had that done and can attest for that. That is amazing. Mm-hmm. The other 2 is, and I don't know if you have a shorter word for this, but IASTM.
Yes.
And then also percussive therapy.
Yep. So under, I guess, the massage realm category of things, the cupping has become really big. I think when Michael Phelps was doing the Olympics and he had all those cup marks when he was competing. And
that's when I first saw it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where a lot of it was. And I was like, oh, look at this new stuff like cupping. And like, oh yeah, cupping's been around for hundreds of years, actually.
Yeah.
But it's one of the few modalities that will actually decompress the tissue. A lot of the other things that we do, we push down, we deep tissue, we myofascial release, which requires pressing, the percussive therapy that you mentioned, like this, the hypervolts and theraguns that are out there, and all the other ones that are like that have the pounding that tenderize the meat, so to speak. All that stuff is all pressing down on the tissue, which obviously is effective, but very few things decompress the tissue. And I would say cupping, I use a lot of food analogies because I love food.
As do all of us, yep.
Yeah, so if anybody's ever made a lasagna, right, you make it from scratch and you layer on the noodles, the meat, the sauce, noodles, and the cheese, and it's not cooked, and you wiggle the pan around with the raw lasagna, everything kind of moves and glides on top of each other, right? That's how your tissue should be. But when you bake it, everything kind of gets more dense. And now you can cut the blocks of lasagna out and it stands up and tray, and everything's just stuck together. That's what a lot of the tissue is like. So what the cups can do is uncook your lasagna. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And that allows your layers of tissue to glide on top of one another now, instead of things getting caught and stuck. And that's, one of the common areas people feel that a lot is the lower calves or low back. And then they feel that slow stretch, and it feels like this deep layers of just slowly elongating like cold taffy. So when you put the cups on there, it uncooks that lasagna and allows the tissue to glide a little bit better.
Yeah, that's a great explanation. And just the fact that it pulls things up where every other modality is always pushing things down.
Yeah.
It's a really unique experience to have that sensation, and it draws all this blood up to that area. So it helps nourish it and heals it.
Yep.
It's really fascinating. If you haven't tried it, go get some cupping done.
Yes, that. And then you had mentioned about the IASTM, which stands for Instrument Assisted Soft Tissue Mobilization. A popular certification for that is Graston's technique. That's out there. But scraping is kind of what we call it. And the tools look kind of medieval. I was seeing if I had,
they do by the picture.
Yeah. And really what it does is, for me, it helps bring blood to the surface of the tissue. Blood tends to sit closer to the bone, towards the middle of things. And when you irritate the tissue, your body will respond with something's going on here. We need to calm it down and let's bring some blood there. And so that's why after you scrape it, the skin kind of turns red. Well, that's the blood coming to the surface a little bit more. It also helps loosen up a lot of tight tissue and what I call kind of reorganize the fibers a little bit. Some of those fibers will look like a Twizzler all twisted up, when really it should look like a wire cables that are just kind of going smooth next to each other. So that's where the scraping or the IASTM can come in handy. We also do a lot of like the rock tape. So have you ever seen the kinesio tape that's out there? Mm-hmm. I believe the Olympics brought that out too. I think one of the women volleyball players had that on her shoulder, and everybody's like, what's all that stuff? And they thought it was just decorative, cool tape. But there is a lot of science behind that. And I've seen that tape do some amazing things, but that can also decompress the tissue as well. So we have, our staff is certified and trained in doing the rock tape as well.
Jeff, you've made me hungry with everything you've mentioned today, up until the Twizzlers, because I hate Twizzlers, but that's another person.
Really? Who hates Twizzlers, man?
Me, right here. And Trish is raising her hand, too.
Black licorice is just not natural, but...
Yeah, exactly. Talk to us a little bit about your business model. I know you've worked with some athletes. I won't ask you to, obviously, divulge anything that you can't divulge, but what's your business model as far as memberships, non-memberships, how people get involved with working with Tri-Covery?
Well, as far as, I guess, the first topic you mentioned, working with the pro athletes. We've worked with pros for a long time. And then in 2016, we became the official massage and stretch therapist for the Detroit Lions. And we did that for about 5 years. And that was a lot of fun. But as a small business owner, it's hard to build a business and work with a pro team. Its schedule is very demanding during the season.
Sure.
And I felt like I really couldn't keep that commitment at the level I'd like to with them and grow the business, because my staff here deserved a business that would grow so that they would have a higher ceiling, so they could hit more potential and have more opportunities. But we still get all kinds of athletes that do come in here. We've a lot of Olympic athletes, college athletes that come in here, and they're all very fun. A lot of runners. This past weekend was the Detroit Marathon.
Oh, right.
Which is always a very exciting time for us. And we have a lot of clients that end up running the full marathon or the half and compete and enjoy that. And that's always a very, it's just a fun time. A lot of people are just walking around very proud of themselves, and they should. And that's always fun to witness.
So how is it as far as memberships, non-memberships? How does that piece of it work?
So as far as the membership, so we can go a la carte. We don't have to have a membership, and we have pricing for that. And then we have our members. And when we decided to do membership, and that's an idea I really fought for a long time, because I didn't want people to think that, oh, we're just trying to get money and get members, and maybe they don't come in and use it and we'll just get free money. That's, in my mind, the best way to lose your business, because there's no long term with that, right? Because eventually you're going to go through everybody, and everybody's been a member one time, but the fact that they're going to sign up a second time is very unlikely. And they shouldn't, because if they didn't find value the first time, why would they do it the second time?
Right.
So our membership's really designed on how can we deliver the best results to our clients. And with that, it became, if we saw them monthly and what we call our maintenance schedule. So they come in, they're in pain, we get them out of pain, and then we get them on a maintenance schedule where they come in once a month and we see them at that time. And so when we can see them once a month, we notice a drastic difference as far as no big fires popping up means, and my back didn't go out, or suddenly the knee or the hip pain didn't occur, didn't come back, because we were able to constantly see them. And then when something does happen, and it does, it's inevitable sometimes, they come in and we actually understand their body enough where we can quickly get them some resolution and get things healing much quicker with that. And so we decided to do the membership, which is $110 a month. And with that comes a 1 hour treatment right there. So that sets that whole month right there. And then if you want to come in more than one time a month, it's a discounted price of $100 per hour from that. And along with that membership, you get discounted retail items that we have, like the Theragun. You can get 15% off the Theragun. We sell different products from there, CBD, some of the rock tape, and going from that. And then pretty much all our retail is 15% off. And then we have extra special items that if we hire a new therapist, we got to build their schedule out. And one of the best ways to market them, but also to give them experience and hands-on, is we need them to just work on people. So we offer all our members 50% off anytime we hire a new therapist for an entire month. So they end up actually getting their money back pretty well, but we deliver better results. And that's the bottom line.
So I was curious, I've personally been through a few injuries, and a lot of the modalities that work, like massage and chiropractic, things like that, are not covered by insurance. So I was curious if your business model is covered by most insurances, like a typical physical therapy office would be.
We do not take any kind of insurance or deal directly with any insurance companies, although we do accept like health savings accounts or flexible spending accounts. So HSA and FSA accounts, we can bill directly from that. What we will do is email a paid receipt to our clients, and that will have a lot of the information for the insurance company for the clients to submit to try to be reimbursed, which we haven't heard anything negative from that. But lots of times insurance can get a little bit finicky, like, oh, we need this and some notes from that. And we can supply that because we do notes with all of our sessions, and we can help them along those lines a little bit, but we do not do any of the billing ourselves. So.
Curious too for the recovery part. So like as a mom, I had diastasis recti, and so I went to physical therapy, but I was also referred for massage therapy too. Have you dealt with any women who suffered from that?
Not a whole lot, I'll be honest with that. But as far as the tissue and what's needed for that tissue, from, I guess, a general perspective, with most of our dysfunctions that we see here, is creating a balance between the joints and the areas. So like the front and the back of the body, and working from right and left. And some areas stop working properly and they shut down and they don't fire properly. And other areas fire too much. And we want to make sure that we have that balance in there, as well as some of the scar tissue or some of the tissue that's been traumatized. We want to help relax that area and decrease some of that scar tissue that could be occurring from that. But for your specific situation, no, we have not. That would be something that we would talk about. And I would say, hey, let me get some more research. I want to pick some brains of some people smarter than me. And I want to do some reading and find out. And if we can help you, I'll let you know. But if I find somebody who is more experienced and that's going to be better at us and do it, then that's what I'll probably end up doing. Trying to do some research for you and find a good professional to refer you to.
Thanks. Well, it's always good to have a network of people to rely on. Speaking of networks, how has the chamber benefited you?
We've met a lot of great people. I mean, such as you guys and a lot of other local businesses. Really, the friendships, which I guess a lot of people call networking, has been great. But I'm a big fan of networking and building those friendships and relationships and trying to help those around us and support their businesses the best we can. And I love learning about other businesses and who they are and where they come from. You guys do it regularly. So I think you guys have a pretty cool job, and you kind of get to the details and dissect the person of why they did this with their business and what they're all about. And I think that is all fascinating. And then the referrals, those come in time, I think. I prefer that people refer to us because they 100% believe in us and they've been in and they see us and they know what we are about and they know what we do. If somebody just starts referring to us and then, I appreciate it, of course, and we do our best. But even after a while, I'll be like, look, we need to get you in here. We need to get you on the table so you can experience firsthand of what we do. And once that happens, that usually puts a lot of gas on the fire and it creates great conversations between us and the person on the table as well.
Jeff, speaking of what you do, we'd be remiss if we didn't ask. You've talked about all the therapies and modalities you've offered. What about classes? Do you offer classes to clients as well?
We do. We have a class that we do. It's called Stick Mobility, which we've had some training in and certifications with. And that is offered off-site at one of our friends that we network with, Nelson Strength and Conditioning. And that's offered there every other Tuesday evening at 6:00. And Shannon, our general manager in the Royal Oak office, is the one who teaches the class. And that is a great class to, again, for mobility. I mean, stick mobility.
Yeah, what is that? How does that work?
This kind of says in the name. So let's see, there are these, I'm just going to show it. So I have these sticks right behind me here that you guys can see, but the people listening cannot.
They almost look like pool cues.
A little bit, yeah. They're a bit thicker. They're kind of like PVC pipe they're like luxurious PVC pipe, really.
Okay.
With handles, and they're painted a really cool orange. And they have a sticker on it that says Stick Mobility. And they're a little bit thicker, but they also have a little bit more bendability to them. And what that does now is it allows the person to move in certain ways that they would not normally be moving in by holding onto those sticks. And it creates this traction or creates muscle firing patterns that open up range of motion. And this is one of those things that's hard to really understand until you actually do it yourself. But by firing certain muscles, it tells your brain to say, oh, we can move more in this other area. So by squeezing my shoulders a certain way, all of a sudden I'll be able to squat down a lot lower with zero pain. Well, how's that work? And he goes, well, it's all connected. It all works from there.
I kind of think of it as almost like it's like a baby blanket, because I've done the stick therapy before. It's
Okay.
Imagine if you're stretching out, but you're holding on to a chair in front of you. It gives you that extra mental stability, like, hey, something is supporting me. The stick does that exact same thing. So you actually use the stick as a support while you're moving through your stretches. So it almost tricks your mind that says you can do more because you've got this extra support.
It does. If you do some single leg work, it helps you keep your balance.
Mm-hmm.
It acts like a hiking stick or a cane in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some other areas where you can hang on to it, and they call them like monkey hangs, where you hang onto the top of the stick and you go drop into a squat, but hold on tight. And you get this giant stretch through your whole upper back and your shoulders. And then you start swaying side to side and you feel a stretch just move up your arms and into your shoulders and through your ribs and go from there. And then you bring one leg forward. And now let's say you stand on one leg, the sticks help you hold your balance, but now you can push one leg against the stick while you're pushing down into the ground, which creates all the muscles in the front of your body to fire. And it changes the whole patterns of muscles that need to move and fire from there. And when you kind of trick the body like that, it really opens up opportunities for improvement. And like I said, it's one of those things that you have to go through to really understand what it is. And I suggest you guys go through it. The classes fill up pretty quick because we only allow 5 people in each class because we want to make sure we're supervising it really well. But I tend to have pretty tight hips, and this is one of the modalities that's helped my hips long term as far as loosening up. And I've been getting to a lot of golf, so that's been super handy for me.
Well, Jeff, it's been super fascinating to have you on our show. And now it is time for our fishbowl question of the day, where we pull a totally random question for you.
Okay.
So, Trish, can you pull our fishbowl question of the day?
Of course. Let's see. What's one place you've traveled to that you never want to go back?
Ooh. Let's see. Only because I've already been there and I'm good with not going back. And some people are going to think I'm crazy for saying this, but New York City.
Oh, I'm with you.
Okay.
Yes.
I was like, oh, I hope you guys don't get mad at me for this one. So it was good to go, and I experienced it, Times Square and all that stuff, and went into a deli and got bagels, and I tried to do everything I could. Again, I love food, right? So, and try to experience as much as we can, but it's just the mentality there. I guess I'm more of a country guy. I guess I'd rather be in a cabin in a mountain somewhere.
That's fair. I grew up in Boston, so I have a natural disdain for New York, but I can tell you that when I am there for more than 24 or 48 hours, I can literally feel my blood pressure rising because everything is on top of everybody. And it's so intense.
It's extremely intense and just so, I don't know. I guess I don't do well with chaos, I guess. And there's a certain level of chaos that people love out in that way. But like Boston, I love Boston. I'm going there twice next year.
My wife and I both grew up in New England. There's a reason we live in the Midwest by choice. This is much more our pace right here.
Yeah. I prefer the more rural setting and suburbia and whatnot. But yeah, New York City is probably my place that I am pretty good with not going back.
Well, thanks, Jeff. That was a good one. Can you let everyone know where to find you on social media?
Yeah, absolutely. We are mostly on Facebook and Instagram at Tri_Covery. And we are located in Royal Oak as well, near 14 Mile and Coolidge, 2605 West 14 Mile. And our website is tri-covery.com. So that's TRI-COVERY.com. And there you can book appointments. You can do a lot of research, or you can just give us a call at 248-773-8242. And we'd be happy to answer any questions you have. And like I told you earlier, if we can help, if we're the best solution for you, we will be happy to help. But if we're not, we'll be the first one to say, look, we know some people better for you, and we're maybe number 3 on your to-do list. So let's get the first 2 things taken care of, and then hopefully we'll see you later, or we don't because you're feeling great and you don't need to come in. And that is great with us.
Thanks, Jeff. Well, I am Trish Groove, 3rd-generation jeweler and owner of Your Personal Jeweler. I specialize in creating custom engagement rings, wedding bands, and fine jewelry. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at The Personal Jeweler, or on our website, www.thepersonaljeweler.com.
My name is Lisa Bibby, and I'm a realtor with Keller Williams Advantage. I put the real back in realtor. The market is shifting, and yet there are still niche markets. Looking to get top dollar for your house? Give me a call, or you can find me on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram at Sold by Lisa B.
And I am John Gay from Jag in Detroit Podcasts. I am the podcast guy. If you like the way this show sounds, you want me to create a podcast for your business, find me online at jagindetroit.com. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Rock Pod, produced for the Royal Oak Chamber of Commerce. For more information about chamber events or how to get involved with the chamber, you can visit royaloakchamber.com. Thanks, everyone.